How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Not every NBA player gets the chance to becoming a multiple-time All-Star. Some players might sneak in the All-Star game once if they're lucky in the weaker conference. Over the course of the last 2 decades, there's been many forgotten All-Stars, mainly from the Eastern Conference. In the West, Steph Curry didn't become an All-Star until his 5th season. Damian Lillard was snubbed multiple times, so was CP3. With that said, here are 7 of the most forgotten All-Stars who's still playing in the NBA in 2021.
Starting with Jrue Holiday, now with the Milwaukee Bucks, who's always been considered a good player, doesn't get talked about much since his game's not flashy, stellar for most of his career, 30 years old, seems like he's much older, being in the league since 2009. It's crazy to believe the 6'3" two-way specialist last made the All-Star game 8 years ago, all the way back in 2013, where he averaged 17.7 points, 8 assists, over a steal and a half. For a 34-48 Sixers team, was only 22 at the time. Year 3 actually became the youngest player in franchise history to become one. The former 17 pick made the cut over the declining Darren Williams, but Holiday traded to New Orleans in a deal involving lottery pick Nerlens Noel, then slowed down by injuries, played only 34 games in 2014 with a stress fracture in his right tibia, an underwhelming 14 points, 8 assists season, once again banged up in 2015, only played 40 games, continued to have leg problems, wasn't too impactful in those playoffs. Since then, the emergence of Damian Lillard and Steph Curry, the elite guards in the West on the rise, made many forget about Holiday. Played 65 games in 2016 but ruled out the final few weeks of the season, 67 the next year, didn't average as many points as his All-Star season until 2018, finally fully healthy on a 48-win Pelican squad with MVP candidate AD. Holiday averaged 19.6 assists, made defensive first team, the most resounding moment of his career up to date, locking down Dame and CJ in the playoffs, outplaying Portland's backcourt. Game 1, the duo combined 13 of 41 shooting, followed by Holiday's 33-point Game 2. Following Game 3, Lillard was held to 2 of 18 shooting when guarded by Holiday. For the series, the 27-year-old averaged 28 points, 4 rebounds, 6.5 assists, outplaying Lillard's 18.5 points, 35% shooting in the surprising sweep. Many believed Portland was going to reshuffle after that beatdown. The following season, Holiday averaged a career-best 21.2 points, but missed 15 games. AD won it out, sat out the second half of the season, basically tanked at that point, stuck with a young team at the 2-guard spot in 2020. Holiday averaged 19 a game, a dysfunctional squad coached by Alvin Gentry, now considered an upgrade for the Bucks in a deal involving Eric Bledsoe, slowly getting his rhythm. Holiday's considered a solid role player, but doesn't seem to be the guy to put the Bucks over the top. At this point in time, Milwaukee would have been better off getting rid of Bledsoe and keeping Malcolm Brogdon. Holiday's likely one and done as an All-Star, not the best shot creator, positional versatility, a great way to describe his game. How about Holiday's current teammate Brook Lopez, who's regressed it this season, was super close being out of the NBA after the 2018 season. His 1-year stint with the Lakers, not so good, but rejuvenated himself with the Bucks in the 2019 season. Just like Holiday, Lopez made the All-Star team in 2013, the lone net All-Star that season, averaged 19.5 points, 7 rebounds, used to be lethal on the post, had a knack of drawing fouls, always been a good scorer for a big, a low post machine. His 5th season, didn't even make a 3 up to that point in his career, a good rim protector, but never a game changer on some awful Nets teams early on. Lopez was supposed to be contending for a title in 2014, but got hurt, played just 17 games. After the failed KG Paul Pierce D. Rose experiment, Lopez all of a sudden became the best player on the Nets, 21 and 20 wins in the 2016-17 season, empty numbers and wasting away on a rebuilding roster, wasn't considered quick, very slow on the block. Many thought he wasn't capable of playing outside the post. Traded in the D'Angelo Russell deal, the Nets hit a home run with D'Lo. Lopez averaged 13 a game for the Lakers. The Bucks signed him for a vet minimum, a great spacer as a center since he's a bad rebounder. Don't have to worry about that now with Giannis grabbing the boards. Averaged 12.5 points in 2019, then all of a sudden signed a 4-year $52 million deal. Lopez was a huge bargain for the 2019 Bucks since they had to pay him to retain him. The team let Malcolm Brogdon walk because of it. Lopez's shooting percentages not great, but made a defensive team in 2020, showed up in the 2020 playoffs unlike some of his other teammates. Now a rotation starting center, an 11-5 guy, the soon to be 33-year-old, still the Nets leading scorer all time. time. Andre Iguodala, the 3-time NBA champion, former Finals MVP, been averaging single digits in points since the 2014 season. A bench guy the last 7 years, the 37 years old on his very last legs, made the All-Star team with the 2012 Sixers, averaged 12.5 points, over 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists, almost 2 steals. Never been a number 1 option on offense, but a very good role player with smart defensive tendencies. That was already his 8th season. In his earlier days, averaged between 18 to 20 points a game from 2007 to 2009. His lack of eye-popping numbers doesn't show how impactful he was. The 2012 team, nobody averaged more than 20 a game. The formula for success, team ball. Iggy, the centerpiece on both ends, especially on defense, took Boston to 7 games in the semis. Other years had better numbers, but his all-star appearance arguably overdue. Known as an insane athlete and a great dunker his earlier days, his presence also helped the Nuggets the year after, involved in a 4-team trade which included Dwight to the Lakers, but the team Iguodala got his eyes on, the Golden State Warriors, came off the bench in 2015, the season he won Finals MVP, continued to do the little things. Most people today knew Iggy used to be an all-star, but likely had a hard time naming the year. His role in game regressed after 2017, but still had plenty of big playoff moments, made plenty of big plays down the stretch, a true winner, has a team option for 2022, perhaps a future Hall of Famer. Jeff Teague, part of that 2015 Hawks Big 4 team, the most random 60-win team all time. Teague averaged under 16 points, 7 assists, just 46% shooting, nothing crazy, but because the East was so weak, guys like him got in. It's an absolute travesty. Teague easily made the All-Star team in the weaker conference, while Damian Lillard was originally snubbed but got in as a replacement thanks to Blake Griffin's injury. A score-first point guard, Teague will always be one of those guys we can look back on and be like, wait a minute, a role player like him making the All-Star team? What the heck? Wasn't even in the top 10 voting amongst guards in the Eastern Conference. Teague would never have another season playing as well, pretty much the same guy in 2016, then traded to Indiana, was okay for them, not much success. Teague will always be known for getting absolutely destroyed, abused, annihilated, and humiliated in the playoffs by LeBron James. Teague's 0-12 all-time versus James in the postseason, badly swept in 2015, also 2016, a second-round beatdown, and again in 2017 with Indies, swept in the first round, made $19 million each of his 2 seasons playing with the dysfunctional Timberwolves, was just okay with Minnesota as well. 32 years old now, the Celtics backup point guard, Kemba, not too good, his best days way behind him, now on a vet minimum, a type of player who will be forgotten. DeAndre Jordan, yes, he was actually an all-star in 2017, crazy right? Averaged nearly 13 points, 14 rebounds, over 71% shooting because CP and Blake missed 21 games each. That's why DJ was the lone all-star for the Clippers. It's an absolute travesty. Jordan was named an all-star with limited offense, and CP3, 18 points, 9 assists wasn't, and neither was 22 and 8 Blake. So what if they missed games? Both were way better than Jordan in 2017. Who can believe the Lob City Clippers had a year when CP and Blake weren't all-stars and DJ was, also beating out Damian Lillard as well? Absolute insanity. Jordan came in as a one-dimensional athlete, just dunking on offense, but improved his outlet passes and great anticipation, now playing with the Nets as the starting center until maybe the team signs another big. Jordan's now a fossil on defense, a shell of himself, can't move anymore, used to be a feared rim protector. The center spot also struggling in 2017 with Embiid playing limited minutes, Karl Towns very young, Gobert wasn't elite yet, Jokic barely mentioned, CP3 made DJ look very good at times. His game depended a lot on athleticism. Now that he's older, can't jump like he used to, way slower. The fact that him and James Harden now on the same team, seeing how great Harden's been his entire stint with Houston, is an absolute double travesty. Jordan made first team All-NBA in 2016 and Harden left off first, second, and third team. Makes absolutely no sense, an absolute disgrace and a joke, something I'll never get over. Goran Dragic, in case many of y'all forgotten what year Dragic made the team, back in 2018 as a replacement, averaged 17.3 points, 5 assists, 75 games as the starting point guard with Miami, 31 years old, his 10th season, was named Eastern Conference Player of the Week twice before being selected, the first Slovenian player to make it, led his team to the postseason with O.D. Wade, Dion Waiters, Josh Richardson, Hassan Whiteside, and Tyler Johnson. Not stacked by any means, the team leader in points and assists. Miami had a 29-22 record when Dragic was selected. Very crafty games, knows his angles, also played some of his best basketball in the 2020 playoffs before the finals. Many believe he should have made the team back with the Suns in 2014 where he averaged over 20 points, but waited for his turn. A very good career and much improved since his Suns days. It's crazy that him and Isaiah Thomas were once on the same team, and Dragic will be more remembered going forward. Gordon Hayward. People who just started watching the NBA after 2017 don't realize how great a player he was. Last season with the Jazz, averaged a career best 22 points, 5.5 rebounds, led his team to 51 wins, was the go-to guy before Donovan Mitchell. Coming into the league out of Butler, Hayward barely made any noise for the early 2010s Jazz, but had a better season each year in Salt Lake. Started off averaging just under 6 points as a rookie, to 12 points, then to 14, then over 16 a game to over 19 in both the 2015 and 16 season. Underratedly athletic, can flush it down and finish strong. A good pull-up jumper too. Took over down the stretch. Rudy Gobert still on the rise then. Hayward led the Jazz to a 35-22 record before the 2017 All-Star break. There wasn't any doubt he was gonna make it. By that time, Hayward was considered the better small forward over Carmelo Anthony. After leaving for Boston, got hurt in the first game of the very next season where he was supposed to be in his athletic prime. Struggled to find his rhythm in Beantown. Looked like a shell of himself, didn't fit in, left for Charlotte, ended up being in a way better situation, playing like an all-star caliber player once again in 2021. Honorable mentions includes Kristaps Porzingis, who was an all-star with the Knicks in 2018 before his ACL tear. Very inconsistent and injury-prone since, should continue being a good player for years, but have lost some stock since the injury.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Which current players on this list did you forget was an all-star? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, if you guys love NBA basketball, just hit the subscribe button. I talk NBA history, current NBA, hot takes, and anything basketball that will interest you. So once again, have a great day. I love all of you. See you next time.